All NEET aspirants, welcome to NEET Login. As far as 2020 Botany NEET paper concerned, out of 90 questions from biology, 49 questions contributed from the botany, and out of 49 questions, 30 questions from 11th NCERT book and its periphery, and 19 questions from 12th NCERT book and its periphery, and no question asked beyond the text. So, there is a need to focus on NCERT text to unravel, to unfold the twist and the knots present in every paragraph of the topic. That is very, very important. If you get a conceptual clarity of the text, whatever the question in examination, you are going to answer very easily. The conceptual clarity is very, very important, because subject it is a ocean, syllabus in a confined frame. So, we have the textbook, master the textbook, that makes it to crack in NEET. Question number 1, the ovary is off inferior in. With regard to the position of ovary on thalamus, it is perigynous, epigynous, and it is hypogynous. And in case of the perigynous, the thalamus it is the concave, otherwise it is cup shaped. So, sepal, petal, stamen develop from the margin of the thalamus, and sepal, petal, stamens and ovary almost at the same level, it is said to be what it is, off inferior. Rose, plum, peach, it is having off inferior, the flower it is perigynous. In case of epigynous, the thalamus it is deep cup shaped. The thalamus grows over the ovary. Ovary gets maximum protection, and from the tip of the thalamus, sepals, petals, stamens develop. So, ovary is said to be inferior, and rest of the floral part, sepal, petal, stamen said to be it is superior. So, in epigynous flower, which is inferior? Ovary it is inferior. Which are superior? Sepals, petals, stamens which are superior. In case of inferior, cucumis, pyrus, sunflower and pseudium. And in case of hypogynous, thalamus it is conical, convex, and ovary is situated on the thalamus. Rest of the floral part, sepal, petal, stamen develop from the base of the ovary. So, in this ovary is said to be superior, but rest of the floral parts, sepal, petal, stamen is said to be inferior. So, inferior or sepal, petal, stamen, superior or ovary. The flower it is the hypogynous, ovary it is superior. China rose, mustard, datura, brinjal in case of the hypogynous. Right option is the second option, that is plum, rose, peach. Question number 2, identify the wrong statement with regard to restriction enzymes. The restriction enzyme, the name acquired because it restricts the growth of viruses inside the bacterial cell. There is a modification enzyme system, the two enzymes responsible for restricting the viruses inside the bacterial cell. One enzyme which acts as the methylase, which adds methyl groups to the bacterial DNA, and other enzyme which cleave the incoming viral DNA. So, viral multiplication it is inhibited, and the enzyme which adds methyl groups to the bacterial DNA not recognized by the enzyme. So, host DNA it got protected, only incoming viral DNA it got cleaved, and these restriction enzyme belongs to large class of the enzyme, what do you call nucleases, which are hydrolases, which are the two type exonucleases and it is endonucleases. The exonucleases which act on the DNA having free ends, and it act on the DNA at ends, it results in the fragments. It is not useful in case of recombinant DNA technology, genetic engineering. And the enzyme which cleave within the DNA, what do you call it, is restriction endonucleases. Restriction endonucleases cleave the DNA in a particular fashion, exactly in the middle of the palindrome. The cuts, what do you call this, staggered cuts, that is symmetric cleavage of phosphodiester bond or both strand at different location between the same nitrogen bases results in single stranded sticky end at the end of the double strand. These cuttings which are the common. And in case of other types of the cleavage, exactly between what it is the middle of the palindrome, it results in what do you call it is the blunt ended fragments, what do you call the fleshy ends. In first option, they are useful in genetic engineering. Yes, they are useful in genetic engineering to make the DNA into the fragments, the desired DNA fragments. Second, sticky ends can be joined by using DNA ligases. Yes, sticky ends are joined by DNA ligases, but in no way connection to this in the mentioned question, that is restriction enzymes. That is a wrong statement as far as the restriction enzyme concerned, because restriction enzyme cleave the DNA as well as in this case the ligases unite what it is the broken fragments. Third, each restriction enzyme functions by inspecting the length of the DNA sequence. Yes, first it inspects the length of the DNA sequence, find the recognition sequence, binds to it and cleave the DNA. Fourth, they cut the strand of the DNA at palindromic site. Yes, they cut the DNA at palindromic site. In the middle of the palindrome results in blunt ends, or just away from the middle of the palindrome, what do you call the cuts, staggered cuts, results in single stranded sticky ends. So, right option it is the second option. Question number 3. In water hyacinth and water lily, pollination takes place by water hyacinth and water lily, the flowers which are vertical come out of the water, and most of the hydrophytes exhibit the pollination by insects or water. All hydrophilous flowers are hydrophytes, but all hydrophytes are not hydrophilous. And hydrophily, it is present rarely in case of the monocots, that too restricted to 30 genera of the monocot exhibit only it is hydrophily. So, right option it is third option, insects or wind. Question number 4. If the distance between two consecutive base pairs is 0.34 nanometers and the total number of base pairs of the DNA double helix in a typical mammalian cell is 6.6 into 10 to the power of 9 base pairs, then the length of the DNA is approximately. In mammalian cell, the diploid content of the DNA, it is 6.6 into 10 to the power of 9 base pairs. And to calculate this length of the DNA, distance between the consecutive base pairs into number of base pairs, and 1 nanometer is equal to 10 to the power of minus 9 meters. So, 0.34 10 to the power of minus 9 into 6.6 10 to the power of 9, that is the base pairs in mammalian cell, it gives approximately 2.2 meter long DNA, and that is accommodated by means of the compaction and packaging. What do you call it is the DNA packaging by means of the histone as well as it is non-histone proteins. So, right option it is the first option, 2.2 meters. Question number 5. Dissolution of synaptonemal complex occurs during. In meiosis prophase 1, the substages which are leptotin, zygotin, pachytin, diplotin, diakinesis. In leptotin, maternal and paternal chromosomes grouped at one point, and there is a gradual visibility of the chromosome in leptotin because the compactation is continuous throughout a leptotin stage. Zygotin, selective pairing of the chromosomes. What do you call it? Is synapsis. Synapsis results in a bivalent. And the protein which aids in the formation of the complex, what do you call? Synaptonemal complex. And the pair, what do you call? The bivalent or tetrad. The tetrad stage is clearly visible in next stage, it is the pachytin. Long lasting stage, recombination occurs, it is the pachytin, in which non-sister chromatids of homologous chromosome exchange the segments, what do you call it? Is crossing over. The catalyst, the enzyme useful in case of the pachytin is recombinase. Diplotin, it is the reverse phase to zygotin. In this case synapsis occur, in this case desynapsis. Dissolution of synaptonemal complex, repulsion between homologous chromosome, and chiasmata, it is X-shaped structure in diplotin, but still united at a chiasma. Diakinesis, terminalization of chiasma. The movement of chiasma to the tips of the chromosome, what do you call? Terminalization. In diakinesis, the bivalent migrate to the periphery of nuclear membrane breaks. So, diakinesis is the transition to metaphase 1. So, right option it is the first option, diplotin. Question number 6, match the following concerning essential elements and their function in plants. Iron, it is useful for the synthesis of the chlorophyll, activity of the catalase, and iron present in the electron carriers like it is the cytochromes, and also present in ferredoxin, that is iron sulfur protein. Zinc, it is useful for the synthesis of IAA, activator of the enzyme carboxypeptidase, carbonic anhydrase. Boron, it is essential for pollen germination, cell elongation, and carbohydrate translocation in phloem. Manganese, well defined function of the manganese is photolysis of water. In photolysis of water, calcium, manganese and chlorine. So, well defining function of the manganese, that is associated with oxygen evolving complex in the lumen side, is the manganese. So, right option it is the first option. Question number 7, the body of ovule is fused within the funicle at. The body of ovule, that is the point of attachment of the body of ovule to the stalk of the ovule, the funicle, what do you call this portion? It is hilum. The opening of this ovule, it is the micropyle, where integuments leave a narrow opening, the micropyle. The integuments which are the protective layers, and this embryo sac, it is a haploid present inside this ovule, and the ovule having a mass of diploid tissue, it is nucellus. So, right option it is third option, hilum. Question number 8, the product or products of reaction catalyzed by nitrogenase in root nodules of leguminous plant is or are. In nitrogen fixation, a molecule of nitrogen reduced to 2 molecules of ammonia and hydrogens by utilizing 8 proton, 8 electron and 16 ATP in presence of the enzyme dinitrogenase. The dinitrogenase is the enzyme useful for nitrogen fixation in legumes, that is synthesized by NIF gene. The dinitrogenase is active under anaerobic condition, inactive under aerobic condition, and this dinitrogenase is well protected by a red colored pigment, what do you call leg hemoglobin, from being oxidized. That is why leg hemoglobin, it is oxygen scavenger. So, in legumes the dinitrogenase is well protected. In case of the blue green algae, the dinitrogenase is well protected in heterocyst, a special cell. In case of free living bacteria, a hoponoid lipid supposed to be the preventive barrier for oxygen, that is hoponoid lipids in case of aerobic bacteria. So, right option it is the ammonia and hydrogen, the second option. Question number 9. The transverse section of a plant shows the following anatomical features: A. Large number of scattered vascular bundles surrounded by bundle sheath. B. Large conspicuous parenchymatous ground tissue. C. Vascular bundles conjoint and closed. Phloem parenchyma is absent. In case of dicot stem, monocot stem, dicot root and monocot root, dicot leaf and monocot leaf, collateral conjoint vascular bundles are present in dicot stem, dicot leaf, monocot leaf. Collateral conjoint open vascular bundles are present in dicot stem. Closed vascular bundle present in case of monocot stem, dicot leaf as well as monocot leaf. Radial vascular bundles are present in dicot root as well as monocot root. In dicot stem, vascular bundles which are top or wedge shaped. In case of the monocot stem, the vascular bundles which are oval in shape. In case of the dicot stem, vascular bundle having a bundle cap, that is sclerenchymatous. In case of monocot stem, it is surrounded by vascular bundle surrounded by bundle sheath, that is sclerenchymatous. In case of dicot stem, many vessels present in a serial order. In case of monocot stem vascular bundle, few vessel represented by 4 vessel, 2 metaxylem, 2 protoxylem, arranged in the form of Y. And in case of the monocot stem, trichomes are absent, endodermis, pericycle, medulla, medullarius it is absent. There is a conspicuous ground tissue. In this conspicuous ground tissue, vascular bundles which are scattered, what do you call it is atactostele. In monocot stem, peripheral vascular bundles are small and close. The central vascular bundles are wide with gaps. What do you call the stele? It is atactostele. And phloem parenchyma, it is absent in case of most of the monocots. So, identify the category of the plant and its part, that is monocotyledonous stem, third option. Question number 10. Which one of the following is the most abundant protein in the animals? The most abundant protein in the biosphere is rubisco. Why the rubisco is most abundant protein in the biosphere? Because majority of the plants which are C3 plant. And most abundant protein in animal kingdom, it is the collagen. It is having a triple helical structure according to structural biologist Ramachandran, and it is having 3 polypeptides. And this collagen is considered to be a beauty protein. Suppose the question is like this: a substance responsible for facelift in young age, the same substance responsible for wrinkles on the face, what is that substance? Is nothing but collagen. So, it is a beauty protein. And with regard to lectins, it is concanavalin A, it is obtained from Canavalis rosea. It is a medicinal property against cancer. And insulin is a polypeptide, it is hormone. And the right option it is the fourth option, collagen. Question number 11. The sequence that controls the copy number of linked DNA in the vector is termed. In case of palindromic sequence, the sequence of nitrogen bases which reads same in both forward and backward direction, when orientation of reading kept same, what do you call it is the palindromic sequence. And restriction enzyme, restriction endonucleases inspects the length of the DNA and recognition sequence and binds to it and they cleave the DNA in a particular fashion, and the cuts, what do you call it is staggered cuts. Recognition site, the palindromic sequence is nothing but a recognition sequence. It is 4 to 6 base pair length, usually it is 6 base pair length, GAA-TTC, and is recognized by E core 1, that is extracted from Escherichia coli. Selectable marker. Selectable markers are antibiotic resistant gene for selection of transformed cells. If you ligate the foreign DNA, not all vectors are supposed to absorb this foreign DNA. Some vectors with DNA inserted the DNA, some vectors without DNA, which are allowed for the transformation. Some cells uptake the recombinant DNA, some cells uptake only non-recombinant plasmid, some cells do not take any plasmid, any vector. So as to identify the transformed cells, we require selectable markers which are nothing but antibiotic resistant genes. Apart from selectable markers, there is a reporter enzyme, that is LAC-Z gene, that encoding for beta galactosidase. So it is alternate selectable markers, the ability to distinguish based on the color with the help of our enzyme beta galactosidase, that is encoded by LAC-Z gene, that what do you call it is a reporter enzyme, and the gene what do you call it is the reporter gene. And ORI, the sequence of nitrogen bases at which the foreign DNA it is linked, what do you call it is ORI. Not only the initiation of the DNA replication at ORI, it is also responsible for the copy number of linked DNA. So, we are going to select the vector with ORI which support high copy number, it is the preferred. So, right option it is the fourth option. Question number 12. The plant pods which consists of two generations, one within the other. In angiosperms or gymnosperms, pteridophyte or bryophyte, there are the two generations, sporophytic generation and gametophytic generation. Sporophytic generation begins with zygote. Zygote is the first cell of the sporophytic generation. Gametophytic generation begins with spore. So, first cell of the sporophytic generation is the zygote, first cell of the gametophytic generation is the spore. And the anther, seed, fruit, ovule which are diploid and belongs to sporophytic generation. The pollen grains, germinated pollen with two male gametes and embryo sac which comes under gametophytic generation. In this, the plant pods which consist of two generations within the other. In case of first option, that is A, pollen grains inside the anther, pollen it is the gametophytic generation, anther it is sporophytic generation. So, inside the anther, that is in the sporangium, microsporangium, pollen grains are present. Okay, it is B. Germinated pollen grain with 2 male gametes. Pollen itself, it is a gametophytic generation, and lost cells of the gametophyte are nothing but it is male gametes. It is not. C. Seed inside the fruit. Seed is sporophytic generation, it is a diploid. Fruit also it is diploid sporophytic generation, it is not. D. Embryo sac inside the ovule. Embryo sac, it is the haploid gametophytic generation that is formed from megaspore, and ovule it is diploid sporophytic generation. So, right option it is second option A and D. Question number 13. Match the following columns and select the correct option. In column 1, A. Clostridium butyricum. In case of column 2, it is butyric acid. B. Trichoderma polysporum. Trichoderma polysporum is a fungi which yields cyclosporin A, that is immunosuppressive agent. For successful organ transplantation, the cyclosporin A it is used. C. Monascus, the Monascus purpureus, it is the yeast which yields statins, which is involved in lowering blood cholesterol. It acts as a competitive inhibitor for the enzyme which involved in synthesis of the cholesterol. So, the statins, a competitive inhibitor, lowers the blood cholesterol. Aspergillus niger D. The Aspergillus niger belongs to Ascomycetes, that is going to give citric acid. So, right option it is the fourth option. Question number 14. The roots that originate from the base of the stem are the embryo of the seed. That embryo, what do you call it, is the progenitor, the miniature plant. The radicle of the embryo develop into the primary root. If the primary root is a persistent, what do you call it, is the taproot. The primary root or taproot is going to bear lateral roots. The lateral roots which are acropetal, oblique, endogenous. So, oblique, acropetal, endogenous lateral roots along with the primary root that constitute a taproot system, that is the characteristic feature of dicots. If primary root is short lived, from the base of the stem tuft of fibrous roots will develop, what do you call it, is fibrous root system. So, all fibrous roots which are adventitious, because roots formed from other than the radicle, what do you call it, is adventitious. All fibrous roots are adventitious, but all adventitious roots are not fibrous, because the prop roots which are aerial, the pillar like root develop from the horizontal branches which are also it is adventitious. So, adventitious roots which are aerial or it is underground, but fibrous root system, fibrous roots are always underground. So, prop roots, example the ficus, it is aerial. In case of the fibrous roots, the stem, that is monocot stem, that is the geophilous. So, right option it is third option, fibrous roots. Question number 15. Identify the wrong statement with reference to the gene I that controls ABO blood group. The gene I responsible for ABO blood grouping system, it is having 3 alleles IA, IB, I, and these 3 alleles are present in population, but not in one individual. One individual having 2 alleles per one gene, and plasma membrane of red blood cells having sugar polymer protrude out of this membrane controlled by the gene I. Whenever IA, IB present, both expresses, that is the blood group is going to be AB. It is having its own sugar, it is having its own sugar. And I present, only A is going to express. IB and I present, only B is going to express. So, in first option, when IA, IB are present together, they express the same type of sugar, that is wrong. They express the different type of the sugar, a phenomena of co-dominance. Second, allele I, small I does not produce any sugar, it does not produce any sugar, right. 3, the gene I has 3 alleles, yes, it is having 3 alleles. 4, a person will have only 2 of the 3 alleles, right. So, the first option only it is the wrong with regard to the gene responsible for I gene responsible for ABO blood grouping. So, right option it is first option. Question number 16, identify the incorrect statement. The vascular cambium is involved in secondary growth, giving secondary xerum inside and secondary phloem it is outside. And the secondary xerum loses power of conduction because the lumen of the vessel blocked by tyloses, tannins, resins, oils, gums, it becomes dark in color, only useful for mechanical strength, but not useful for conduction. Such wood, what do you call it is heartwood or duramen, which is central, non-living, and it is non-functional. It provides mechanical support. And recently formed wood around heartwood, what do you call it is sapwood or alburnum. It is light in color, non-living, and it is functional. It conducts water and minerals from the root to the leaf, that sapwood it is the functional and it is non-living. And it is a vascular cambium. In case of sapwood, it is always uniform thickness. Sapwood gradually converted into heartwood, the same amount of the sapwood is going to be formed. So, the wood with uniform thickness, but increase in diameter it is the sapwood. The wood which increase in diameter as well as thickness it is heartwood. Suppose if we mark in sapwood X, Y, X is the youngest sapwood nearer to vascular cambium, Y is the oldest sapwood. In case of A and B for secondary xylem, A is the youngest secondary xylem, B is the oldest secondary xylem, or A it is the youngest heartwood, B is the oldest heartwood. So, oldest sapwood surrounds youngest heartwood, or youngest heartwood surrounded by oldest sapwood, youngest sapwood surrounded by vascular cambium. So, above the vascular cambium there is a secondary phloem, otherwise it is a bust. So, sapwood is external to heartwood, that is non-living, but it is functional, light in color. In first option, sapwood is the innermost secondary xylem and light in color, that is undoubtedly light in color, but not it is the innermost, that is wrong. Second, due to deposition of tannins, resins, oils, the heartwood loses power of conduction. 3, heartwood does not conduct water, but gives mechanical support, right. 4, sapwood is involved in conduction of water and minerals from the root to the leaf, that is also right. So, incorrect statement it is the first option only. So, right option it is the first option. Question number 17, match the following column and select the correct option. Column 1, Bt cotton. The Bt cotton is Bacillus thuringiensis cotton. It is the transgenic crop that can resist caterpillar larvas. The Bacillus thuringiensis during its particular phase of the growth produce toxins. The toxins can kill caterpillar larvas. These toxins, which are the protoxins, which require a triggering an environment, alkaline pH, that is available in case of the gut of the larvae. So, it is a conventional method. Whatever the gene responsible for the production of the toxin is isolated and cloned into the plants like the cotton, the tomato as well as the rice. So, those transgenic plant can resist what? Insect pest. B. Adenosine deaminase deficiency, that is a defective gene. The defective gene is corrected by a proper gene replacement during embryonic stage, and the deficiency of this adenosine deaminase, that is having a tremendous impact on immune system. C. RNAi, RNA interference, RNA quelling, RNA silencing. It is a cellular defense, nucleic acid imported defense mechanism in eukaryotes, and source of the complementary RNA is infection by virus having RNA genomes or transposable elements, that is the DNA, the cut and paste mechanism, illegitimate transfer of the DNA segment within the DNA, what do you call it, the transposons, or retransposons, that is copy and paste, that is replicated via RNA intermediate. So, by using double stranded RNA, we can silence this what it is particular RNA from being translated. So, there is no protein and there is no survival of what it is the nematodes in case of the tobacco. And D. PCR, polymerase chain reaction or people's choice reaction. It was developed by Kary Mullis. And in case of the PCR, polymerase chain reaction, deoxynucleotides and an enzyme that can withstand high temperature induced denaturation of the DNA, that is Tec polymerase, that are extracted from Thermus aquaticus. And in this PCR there are the 3 steps: denaturation, annealing and extension. So, Tec polymerase is used during extension of deoxynucleotides. So, right option it is third option. Question number 18. Which of the following statement is correct? Adenine pairs with thymine through 3 hydrogen bond. That is wrong. Adenine is a purine that pairs with the pyrimidine, that is a thymine, with 2 hydrogen bonds. Guanine pairs with cytosine with a 3 hydrogen bond. Adenine and guanine, which are the purines, dicyclic and heterocyclic compound. Thymine, cytosine, which are pyrimidines, monocyclic and heterocyclic compound. Second option, adenine does not pair with a thymine, that is going to be the wrong. Third, adenine pairs with thymine through 2 hydrogen bond, right. Fourth, adenine pairs with thymine with 1 hydrogen bond, that is going to be the wrong. So, purines which are adenine and guanine, the purines which are dicyclic and heterocyclic. So, total number of carbon nitrogen rings in case of the purines it is the 4. In case of the DNA pyrimidines, thymine and cytosine, it is the 2, each pyrimidine having 1 carbon nitrogen ring. So, total carbon nitrogen ring in all types of the nitrogen bases in DNA, that is going to be the 6, the 4 in case of the purine, the 2 in case of the pyrimidine. So, purines which are dicyclic, pyrimidines are monocyclic. So, right option it is third option. Question number 19. Which of the following pairs is of unicellular alga? In first option, Anabaena and Volvox. Anabaena is a blue-green algae, it is a colonial filamentous, and Volvox it is a colonial green algae. It is wrong. Second, chlorella, yes, chlorella is a unicellular that belongs to Chlorophyceae, and spirulina is a blue-green algae, it is used as single cell protein. Both chlorella and spirulina are used as single cell protein, and chlorella and spirulina both evolve oxygen. So, oxygenic photosynthesis performed by chlorella and spirulina, and chlorella is a single cell protein also used by space traveler, and spirulina is a single cell protein blue-green algae oxygenic photosynthesis by spirulina. Third, laminaria and sargassum that belongs to Phaeophyceae, and laminaria is going to yield iodine. Fourth option, Geridium and Gracilaria which are called agarophytes, they belongs to Rhodophyceae, they are going to yield agar, that is a polysaccharide gel used in making ice creams and to grow microbes in making the medium semi-solid. So, right option it is second option chlorella and spirulina. Question number 20. The process responsible for facilitating loss of water in liquid form from the tip of the grass blade at night and in early morning is, in first option imbibition, it is wrong. Absorption of water by dry or non-living substances and cells in volume, what do you call it is imbibition. Imbibition is a kind of diffusion. Why? It is based on concentration gradient. There must be some affinity between imbibement and water to be absorbed. There must be water potential gradient between imbibement and water to be absorbed. Second, plasmolysis. The plasmolysis is shrinkage of the protoplast when placed in hypertonic solution. What do you call it is the plasmolysis. The space between the cell wall and plasma membrane occupied by hypertonic solution, because cell wall is permeable, that is why the space between the cell wall and membrane occupied by hypertonic solution. And the first sign of shrinkage of the protoplast at corners, what do you call incipient plasmolysis. And this plasmolysis phenomena is a reversible phenomena, because it is an experimental phenomena, a laboratory phenomena. When you place in case of hypotonic solution plasmolyzed cell, again it regain the turgor, what do you call it is deplasmolysis. Water potential contributed to solute potential in a plasmolyzed cell, because the pressure potential is going to be 0. Third, transpiration, loss of water as a vapor from the aerial parts of the plant body. So, the phenomena involved in transpiration, it is a diffusion. So, evaporation with a biotic factor is nothing but transpiration. Stomatal transpiration, lenticular transpiration, cuticular transpiration. The common transpiration it is stomatal transpiration, the stomata present in the epidermis of the leaf as well as young stem, and lenticular transpiration from woody stems. In fourth, root pressure. The root pressure is responsible for guttation and exudation. Loss of water as droplets from the margins and tips of the leaf where vein ends, what do you call it is guttation. And exudation of the sap from the cut end of or it is the stem, what do you call it is the bleeding. So, which force is responsible? Root pressure is responsible. So, root pressure contribute for the modest push in overall long distance transport, but root pressure alone is not responsible for long distance transport. It provide modest push in overall transport, and the root pressure it causes the push. In case of transpiration causes for it is the pull. It is the positive, root pressure is positive, transpiration pull it is negative. And root pressure is to establish, to re-establish the fact that water forms a continuous channel as it breaks in case of the tension created by transpiration pull. And this root pressure is because of rapid entry of the water from the soil to the root. And in case of the soil, minerals are present as the charged particles in low concentration. In cell sap of the root, it is high concentration. So, low to high concentration, there is an active entry of the minerals into the root. So, concentration of mineral increases, water potential decreases, but soil it is having high water potential. So, more water enters into the root, that causes root pressure. So, active uptake of ions are indirectly responsible for osmotic entry of the water into the root, that is responsible for root pressure. That root pressure responsible for guttation and excudation, that is the bleeding. So, right option it is the fourth option. Question number 21. Which of the following is put into anaerobic sludge digester for further sewage treatment? In sewage treatment, the primary treatment and secondary treatment. The primary treatment is a physical treatment and the secondary treatment is a biological treatment. In case of the primary treatment, small and large particles which are removed, that is floating debris which are removed by sequential filtration, and solid that allowed to settle in the bottom of primary settling tank, what do you call sedimentation, and sedimented matter, what do you call it is primary sludge, and supernatant it is effluent. This effluent is transferred for aeration tank for secondary or biological treatment, and continuous stirring or mechanical agitation, useful microbes develop, that is masses of the bacteria along with the filamentous fungi, it forms a mesh like structure, what do you call it is the flocks, and flocks grows and consumes the organic matter, reduce the BOD, and flocks allowed to sediment in settling tank, what do you call it is activated sludge, and small amount of activated sludge used as inoculum in case of aeration tank, large amount of activated sludge transferred to anaerobic sludge digester for further sewage treatment. So, second option it is the right option, that is activated sludge. Question number 22. Which of the following is correct about viroids? First option, they have DNA with a protein coat. It is wrong. They have free DNA without protein coat. It is also wrong. Third, they have RNA with protein coat. So, viroids are RNA without protein coat, but not with protein coat. This is wrong. Fourth, they have free RNA without protein. What do you call it is viroid. So, viroids which is having only nucleic acid, that is RNA as the nucleic acid, which is infectious. Viroids infect only plants, but virions infect plants, animals as well as the humans. And these viroids having low molecular weight when compared to what it is virions. The viroids which are discovered by Dyer and potato spindle tuber virus, citrus exocortosis virus, examples for viroid. Virion minus protein is equal to nothing but what it is viroid. So, right option it is fourth option. Question number 23. How many true breeding pre-plants varieties did Mendel select as pairs which were similar except in one character with a contrasting trait? Number of true breeding plants in Pisum, the pea plant many, and Mendel selected 14 true breeding plants for his experiment. In these 14 true breeding plants, the part which is selected to raise the plant, it is the seed. So, right option it is the first option. Question number 24, number of substrate level phosphorylation in one turn of citric acid cycle. In aerobic respiration, number of substrate level phosphorylations. In glycolysis, there are the two steps. In one step, 1,3-biphosphoglyceric acid is converted into 3-phosphoglyceric acid, 1 ATP is formed. Phosphoenol pyruvic acid, 1 molecule of phosphoenol pyruvic acid by undergoing dephosphorylation to form 1 molecule of pyruvic acid and ATP. So, in glycolysis, total number of ATP formed in all substrate level phosphorylation, it is the 4. And in case of the Krebs cycle, succinyl coenzyme may cleaved into succinic acid. In cleavage reaction, the GTP is generated, and the GTP by coupling reaction, ATP is formed. So, in one turn of the Krebs cycle, one substrate level phosphorylation, that one substrate level phosphorylation in one turn of the Krebs cycle, that is going to yield 1 ATP. For two turn of the Krebs cycle, the 2 ATP generated. So, total ATP in all substrate level phosphorylation is going to be 6 ATP. For one turn of the Krebs cycle, one substrate level phosphorylation during this step, that is succinyl coenzyme A to succinic acid, and the right option it is fourth option. Question number 25, which of the following statement is not correct? In first option, the functional insulin has A and B chains linked together by hydrogen bond, that is wrong. The functional insulin A and B chains are linked together by disulfide linkages. Second, genetically engineered insulin is produced in E. coli, it is right. So, E. coli, the plasmid of the E. coli into this, whatever the gene responsible for synthesizing this insulin is inserted into the plasmid of the E. coli. Such modified E. coli, that is going to produce human insulin. Third, in man insulin is synthesized as a pro-insulin, it is right, like it is a pro-enzyme, the insulin is synthesized initially as it is a pro-insulin, later it is processed, that is mature into insulin by removal of which peptide it is, the C peptide. The fourth, the pro-insulin has an extra peptide called it is C peptide, that is right. So, the first option is right option. Question number 26, some dividing cells exit the cell cycle and enter vegetative or inactive stage. This is called quiescent stage, that is the G0. This process occurs at the end of. In cell cycle, G1 S, G2 M phase. G1 S, G2 which are considered to be the in interphase. With M it is considered to be what it is cell cycle. In case of the checkpoints, G1 S checkpoint, G2 M checkpoint, metaphase, anaphase checkpoint. There are 3 checkpoints. Whether the conditions are favorable for the division or not. Assessment, what do you call it, the checkpoints. In case of the G1, when the cell receives the go ahead signal, it enter into S phase. If it do not receive any go ahead signal, it exit G1, enter G0. So, decision for cell division that occurs at G1, whether to proceed for S or to exit G1. And in case of S, the synthesis of the DNA, replication of the DNA, the 2C DNA become the 4C DNA. And in case of the G2, the continuation of RNA and protein synthesis, cell grows, and followed by it is M. whenever there is a need of the cells, proliferation it is required. At that condition it exit G0, enter G1. So, G1 is decision for cell division, S phase is replication of DNA, G2 is commitment for cell division, determination for cell division, then proceed for what it is, that is M stage. So, right option it is the fourth option, G1. Question number 27, the process of the growth is maximum during. In growth, there are the three phases, lag phase, log phase, stationary phase. In lag phase, the growth is slow and steady. Nutrients are much available, space is much available. In case of log phase, it is the exponential phase, maximum growth occurs. The cell divides and the progeny cells also divides an exponential rate. And stationary phase, nutrients become deficit and there is a shortage or the limited space it is available, slowly it enters into stationary phase. And this growth curve is sigmoid curve. What do you call it? Is S curve. This S curve is applicable to all the cells under the culture and organ differentiation and development of the plant. It is the ideal curve, but S curve is not applicable to the plant that shows the growing in a particular area, that shows the seasonal fluctuation. Growth occurs at intervals, that means stepped growth can be seen in case of areas where the plants facing seasonal fluctuations. And in case of first option, senescence, yellowing of the leaf and finally leads to death of the organ, what do you call it? Is senescence, that is aging process. And senescence is delayed by cytokinin. It prevents the degradation of the chlorophyll, delays the senescence. What do you call the effect? It is Richmond-Lang effect. So, senescent hormone is abscisic acid. Antithetical effect shown by cytokinins. Second, dormancy. The inactive stage of the embryo, at embryo unable to germinate due to physiological reasons or it is environmental conditions, what do you call it? Is the dormancy. It may be innate dormancy, otherwise it is imposed dormancy. And the hormone responsible for imposing the dormancy, the chemical it is abscisic acid. And the hormone which breaks the dormancy, it is gibberellic acid. And third, it is log phase, that is exponential phase, maximum growth occurs. So, right option it is third option. Question number 28, BT cotton variety that was developed by introduction of the toxic gene of Bacillus thuringiensis, the BT, resistant to. So, whatever the genes responsible for the production of the toxins that act on the particular group of the insect, that is caterpillar larvas, that is Lepidopterans, tobacco budworm or mealworm, Coleopterans, that is beetles, Dipterans, flies and mosquitoes. And choice of the genes depends upon the crop and the target pest. Cry1AB, the gene encoding for the toxic protein which control corn borer. Cry2AB, Cry1AC for cotton bollworms. And the right option it is third option, insect pest. Question number 29, Floridian starch has a structure similar to. The Floridian starch is a reserve food material in red algae, that is Rhodophyceae, Gracilaria, Giridium, Polysiphonia and Porphyra. And in case of first option, mannitol and algin. Mannitol is a reserve food material in case of the Phaeophyceae, the brown algae, and algin it is a cell wall material in brown algae. Second option, laminarin and cellulose. Laminarin is the reserve food in case of brown algae, and cellulose is the cell wall material in case of the plants. Third, starch and cellulose. Starch is the reserve food material in case of the green algae and plants. Cellulose is the cell wall material. And fourth, amylopectin and glycogen. Whatever the food reserves in case of the rhodophyceae, that is Floridian starch, similar structurally to amylopectin and glycogen. So, right option it is the fourth option. Question number 30, name the plant growth regulator which upon spraying on sugarcane crop increases length of the stem, thus increasing the yield of the sugarcane crop. And the hormone responsible for cell elongation, the internodal elongation, is the gibberellic acid. And spraying the sugarcane crop with gibberellic acid, there is a elongation of internode, increasing the sugar content. Even for 1 acre, it increases by the 20 tons. So, gibberellic acid is responsible for increasing the length of sugarcane stems. So, right option it is the fourth option. Question number 31, the first phase of translation is whatever the genetic information, the nitrogen basis information loaded onto the mRNA in the form of the codons. So, nitrogen based language changed into code language present in mRNA. The code language is translated into amino acid. So, coded language into amino acid language. So, formation of the polypeptide chain according to the information present on the mRNA, what do you call it is the translation. And amino acid present in the amino acid pool, it is activated in presence of amino acid synthetase by utilizing ATP. And this amino acid is said to be what? Activated amino acid. The activated amino acid binds to third end of the tRNA, the cognate tRNA. What do you call it? Charging of the tRNA or amino acylation of the tRNA. So, in the first phase itself, for peptide bond formation energy is required. That is why amino acids are activated by utilizing ATP. What do you call it is amino acylation. And in this first phase, amino acid binding to cognate tRNA. And whenever SSU encounters the mRNA in absence of larger subunit of ribosome, the translation of mRNA to protein begins. So, in first phase, the amino acylation of the tRNA occurs. So, right option it is the first option. Question number 32, identify the basic amino acid from the following. In first option lysine, says lysine it is a basic amino acid. In second option it is valine, it is a neutral amino acid. In third tyrosine, it is the aromatic amino acid. And fourth glutamic acid, it is acidic amino acid. So, basic amino acid it is lysine, the right option it is the first option. Question number 33, identify the correct statement with regard to G1 phase, that is the gap 1 of interphase. The first option, cell is metabolically active, grows but does not replicate its DNA. Yes, cell is metabolically active and DNA replication do not occurs in G1, the DNA replication occurs in S phase, that is right. Second, nuclear division takes place. Nuclear division takes place in telophase. 3. DNA synthesis or replication takes place, that takes place in S phase. The 2C content of the DNA in G1, it becomes 4C content in case of S stage. Fourth, reorganization of cell components takes place. So, reorganization of the cell components, reappearance of the organelles like Golgi complex, endoplasmic reticulum and nuclear membrane, that occurs in telophase. So, in cell cycle, the interphase which lasts for much time, and the division phase it is the short duration, and the division phase, that is M phase, it is considered to be a dramatic phase, that is reorganization, that is disappearance and a reappearance. Such a reorganization that occurs in case of the division phase, that occurs in case of, that is cell components reappearance in telophase. So, right option it is the first option. Question number 34. In light reaction, plastoquinone facilitate the transfer of electron from. In light reaction, in non-cyclic electron transport, the two photosystem PS2, PS1 it is involved. What do you call it? The Z scheme. In this primary acceptor of electron, in case of PS2 is the pheophytin. Pheophytin transfers electron not to cytochrome B6F, which is purely an electron carrier. Instead of transferring electron to cytochrome B6F, it transfers electron to plastoquinone, which is electron carrier as well as H carrier. So, plastoquinone, while accepting one electron, accept the proton from stroma. So, reduced plastoquinone is transferring the protons to the lumen and transferring electron to cytochrome B6F complex. So, plastoquinone is involved in transfer of electron from PS2 to cytochrome B6F complex through it is the pheophytin, and electron finally reach it to PS1 through plastocyanine. So, copper containing the electron carrier it is the plastocyanine, and the primary acceptor of electron in case of the PS1 it is the ferredoxin. So, for transfer of the electrons, the PS2, PS1 it is involved, and electron deficit in case of the PS2 is compensated by supply of electron from water. So, one water molecule oxidation require the 4 photons of the light. For ejection of 1 electron, 1 photon of light. For this 2 electron, 2 photon of light from the PS2, 2 photon of light from the PS1. So, 4 photons of the light which are required for oxidation of 1 water molecule, and it is going to yield of O2. So, for complete formation of 1 O2 molecule, it requires 2 H2O and 8 photons. What do you call it is the quantum yield. For evolution of 1 molecule of oxygen, it requires the number of photons, it is 8 photons of light, and number of water molecules to be oxidized, it is 2 water molecules. So, 1 water molecule yields the 2 proton and 2 protons from the quinone cycle, 4 protons are accumulated in the lumen for oxidation of each water molecule, and 12 water molecules which are involved. So, 48 protons are accumulated in the lumen. Finally, the accumulated protons which are utilized in the synthesis of the ATP through CF0, CF1 complex, what do you call it is the chemiosmotic theory. So, in this the 1 water molecule is going to yield, that is 1 NADPH2, and 2 protons is going to yield 1 ATP. So, 1 water molecule oxidation it is going to yield 2 ATP, 1 NADPH2. So, for 12 water molecules it is going to yield 24 ATP and 12 NADPH2. So, in case of the Kelvin cycle, for 6 Kelvin cycle, number of water molecules to be oxidized, it is the 12 water molecule, because the 12 NADPH2 are required for 6 turns of the Kelvin cycle for formation of hexones. So, in this question, plastoquinone transfers electron from PS2 to cytochrome B6 complex through pheophytin. So, third option PS2 to cytochrome B6F complex. So, answer it is third option. Question number 35. The oxygenation activity of Rubisco enzyme in photorespiration leads to the formation of. The photorespiration is a waste process in which photosynthetically fixed carbon degraded and carbon dioxide is released in mitochondria. So, it is a light induced respiration. What do you call it? Is photorespiration. And organelle inclusion responsible for photorespiration, it is peroxisomes. And organelles concerned with photorespiration, chloroplast, peroxisome and mitochondria. In this Rubisco, that is abundant protein in the biosphere, that is a dual enzyme. This dual enzyme act as carboxylase as well as oxygenase. It mainly act as carboxylase. It also act as oxygenase. So, Rubisco also act as oxygenase, mainly act as carboxylase. So, whose activity depends upon the concentration of the carbon dioxide and oxygen. At high carbon dioxide percentage, it acts as the carboxylase, and RUBP, a 5 carbon compound, by accepting the carbon dioxide, it breaks into 2 molecules of phosphoglyceric acid. It is a 3 carbon compound. So, total 6 carbons are present, 2 molecules of phosphoglyceric acid. And Rubisco under low CO2, high O2, it acts as oxygenase, a waste process that photorespiration occur. So, RUBP break up into a 3 carbon compound, it is phosphoglyceric acid, and a 2 carbon compound, it is phosphoglycolic acid. That is why photorespiration, it is also a C2 cycle and glycolate pathway. And the right option, it is 1 molecule of 3 carbon compound, it is formed, that is phosphoglyceric acid. Another 2, the 1 molecule of the 2 carbon compound, that is phosphoglycolic acid. So, in the options, in first option 1 molecule of 6 carbon compound, there is no formation of 1 molecule of 6 carbon compound, only in presence of the carboxylase activity only 2 phosphoglyceric acid, that too it is a 3 carbon compound. 1 molecule of 4 carbon compound, 1 molecule of 2 carbon compound, total it is 6 carbon compound, it is wrong. In third option 2 molecules of 3 carbon compound, so 3 carbon compound 2 molecules mean total it is 6 carbons, no. And fourth option 1 molecule of 3 carbon compound, yes, there is a 1 molecule of 3 carbon compound is formed. Of course, the 1 molecule of phosphoglycolic acid is formed, but it is not mentioned in the option. So, the right option it is 1 molecule of 3 carbon compound during photorespiration, that is right option it is the fourth option. Question number 36. Which is the important site for the formation of glycoproteins and glycolipids in eukaryotic cells? First option Golgi bodies, yes. Golgi bodies are concerned with glycoproteins and glycolipids. So, glycolization occurs in the Golgi complex, and it is the organelle constitutive the post office of the cell, where the materials which are finally sorted to the destination places. The organelle which decide the destiny of the protein, it is the Golgi complex. So, modification of the protein and the lipid that occurs in Golgi complex, and the organelle which is the polarized organelle, it is the Golgi complex having cis phase and trans phase. The cis phase is convex phase and trans phase it is maturing phase or transshipment phase, and the Golgi complex it is dense and concentrically present near the nucleus, and which is involved in packaging of the material, not only packaging of material, delivery of the material at intracellular and extracellular targets. And lysosomes are directly originated from the Golgi complex by packaging process. It is involved in cell plate formation and cell wall forming substances which are synthesized by Golgi. Second option polysome. Group of ribosome attached to one mRNA molecule, what do you call? Polysome or polyribosome. These ribosome translate genetic message of mRNA into protein or it is polypeptide. Third option, endoplasmic reticulum. The endoplasmic reticulum, it divides the intracytoplasmic space into intraluminal and extraluminal. And ER studied with the ribosome, what do you call it is rough endoplasmic reticulum, and without any ribosome it is smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum involved in protein synthesis and smooth endoplasmic reticulum involved in case of the glycogen or the lipid synthesis. Fourth, peroxisome. The peroxisomes which are concerned with detoxification, breakdown of H2O2, oxidation of fatty acid, synthesis of phospholipid and involved in photorespiration, and which are present in mesophyll cells of C3 plant, which are involved in glycolate pathway, otherwise what do you call it is photorespiration. So, in this glycoproteins, glycolipids in eukaryotic cells by Golgi complex, the first option is the right answer. Question number 37, match the following: resin, malonate, chitin and collagen. Resin, it is a toxin, it is a secondary metabolite obtained from Ricinus communis, it is a castor. Chitin, it is a nitrogen based polysaccharide and a cell wall material in fungi and present in exoskeleton of arthropods. Collagen, abundant animal protein, intercellular ground substance, and it is having triple helical structure and it is having 3 polypeptide chains. The structural biologist Ramchandran proposed this collagen structure and published in the magazine Nature's magazine. And malonate, it is inhibitor of catalytic activity, because malonate act as a competitive inhibitor. It compete with succinic acid, having structural resemblances with succinic acid, compete for active site of succinic dehydrogenase. As it compete with the succinic acid, compete for active site of succinic dehydrogenase, there is no formation of the products like it is the fumarate. So, if malonate participate, there is no production of the fumarate, that is the fumaric acid. So, inhibitor of catalytic activity, it is malonate, possess peptide bonds, it is the collagen, and cell wall material in fungi, it is the chitin, and secondary metabolite toxin, it is resin. So, right option it is third option. Question number 38, identify the substances having glycosidic bond and peptide bond respectively in their structure. In cellulose, the glycosidic bond, and in case of lecithin it is ester bond. Inulin, a polysaccharide, it is a polymer of the fructose, the glycosidic bond, and it is insulin, a hormone, it is a polymer of amino acid, it is a peptide. So, glycosidic bond, peptide bond respectively present in inulin and it is insulin, a polysaccharide and it is polypeptide. And chitin, nitrogen based polysaccharide present in the cell wall of the fungi and also present in, that is exoskeleton of arthropods. It is the building blocks which are amino sugars and chemically modified sugars, that is glucosamine, N-acetyl galactosamine, which are present as the building blocks in chitin. In cholesterol it is ester bond, glycerol it is ester, and a trypsin it is a protein having what? Peptide bonds. So, right option it is the second option, inulin and insulin, glycosidic and peptide bonds. Question number 39, experimental verification of chromosome theory of inheritance was done by. According to Sutton and Boveri, behavior of the chromosome was parallel to the behavior of the genes as predicted by the Mendel. And the Sutton and Boveri, they explained chromosome movement based on Mendel's laws. And according to them, pairing and segregation of pair of chromosome would lead to pairing and segregation of pair of factors they carry. And Sutton proposed chromosomal theory of inheritance. It is a synthetic idea who united chromosomal segregation and Mendelian principles and proposed chromosomal theory of inheritance. And that chromosomal theory of inheritance, experimental verification done by Morgan in Drosophila. So, experimental material for genetical studies in animal kingdom, it is Drosophila. Experimental material for genetical and biochemical studies in plants, it is Neurospora, that belongs to Ascomycetes. And right option, it is the Morgan, second option, experimental verification of chromosomal theory of inheritance. Question number 40. The specific palindromic sequence which is recognized by ECOR1. ECOR1 recognizes GAA TTC and breaks between G and A in 5-3 direction. So, total number of base pairs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 base pairs, that is the 12 nitrogen bases, and total number of hydrogen bonds present in this palindrome, it is going to be 14. 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3, it is a 14 hydrogen bond. Number of phosphodiester bond that breaks, the 2 phosphodiester bond that breaks, and number of hydrogen bonds got disrupted 1, 2, 3, 4, that is 8 hydrogen bonds which got disrupted, and number of phosphodiester bond breaks 2 phosphodiester bond breaks. Number of hydrogen bond intact, 6 hydrogen bonds which are intact. Number of triple bonds intact, 2 triple bonds intact. And in this palindrome, it is a single stranded sticky end at the end of double strand, single stranded sticky end at the end of double strand. So, in this palindromic site, one cleavage site. So, in this the 2 fragments are formed, the principal it is n plus 1. So, number of fragments formed, if the cleavage sites or recognition sites are 1, it is n plus 1. So, it is the 2 fragments which are formed. If 3 sites means, it is the 4 fragments are going to be formed in linear DNA. So, in this the right option, it is third option. Name the enzyme that facilitates the opening of DNA helix during transcription. And opening of the DNA helix during replication as well as transcription. During replication, the enzyme which unwinds the 2 strands of the DNA by breaking the hydrogen bond is helicase, which unwinds the DNA during replication. And during this replication, the 2 strands act as a template. And in transcription, RNA polymerase, that polymerase ribonucleotide, the RNA polymerase not only polymerase ribonucleotide, it helps in opening of DNA helix. And RNA polymerase alone can function in elongation of chain, that is mRNA. How it is changes its activity in case of initiation and termination. RNA polymerase transiently associated with the sigma factor helps in initiation. RNA polymerase transiently bound with the rho factor helps in termination. So, RNA polymerase changes its specificity by associating with sigma and rho factors responsible for initiation and termination respectively. But RNA polymerase alone can function in opening of helix and elongation of chain, that is mRNA. So, in DNA replication opening by helicase, in transcription RNA polymerase, and DNA ligase is involved in annealing, combining, that is two DNA molecules or the fragments. So, DNA ligase, it anneals these two DNA molecules. So, right option it is second option, RNA polymerase. Question number 42, strobili or cones are found in. In Markhansia, it is the bryophyte. The Antheridophore and Archegoniophore born on to separate thalli. What do you call it? It is a dioecious gametophyte, and it is dorsiventral attached to soil by means of rhizoids. And second, it is Equisetum, that is the pteridophyte, that belongs to the class Spinopsida, that is horsetails, having whorl of branches. At its apex, sporophylls compacted, aggregated to form strobilus, or otherwise it is the cone. So, first strobili bearing, cone bearing plants which are pteridophytes, and it is having rhizomatous stem and adventitious roots. And third, it is Salvinia. It is a fern, it is a floating hydrophyte in which the first leaf it is considered to perform photosynthesis, and second leaf it is for floating, that is the buoyancy, and third leaf it is for absorption of water. So, the leaves which are dissected compensate the absence of the root concerned with absorption of water. In Salvinia it is pteridophyte and it is heterosporous. And pteris, it is a fern member, and this pteris it is having open dichotomous venation, and it is having at its margins group of sporangia. What do you call it? Is sorus. Group of sporangia is sorus. Sporophylls aggregate to form a compact structure, it is strobilus. The sporophyll is going to bear sporangia. Sporangia bearing sporophyll is aggregate to form compact structure, it is strobilus or cone. Here the fertile pinnule, the leaflet is going to bear group of sporangia organized into what it is sorus, and the sorus which are present at the margin, what do you call it? Is cenosorus. So, in this the right option it is second option, Equisetum strobili or cone. Question number 43, choose the correct pair from the following. First option, nucleases separate the two strands of the DNA, that is wrong. DNA two strands separated, unwinding by helicase only, not it is nucleases. Nucleases breaks the DNA into nucleotides. Second, exonucleases makes cuts at specific position within the DNA. Specific positions and within the DNA it is endonuclease, but not it is exonuclease. Exonuclease act on the free ends of the DNA, it is wrong. Third, ligases join the two DNA molecules, the DNA fragments or DNA molecules are joined by, it is ligases. Third, it is right. Fourth, polymerases break the DNA into fragment. Polymerases are the enzyme which polymerize nucleotide. DNA polymerases polymerase DNA nucleotide. RNA polymerase polymerase ribonucleotide. So, right option it is third option, ligases. Question number 44, which of the following statements about inclusion bodies is incorrect? Inclusion bodies is a characteristic feature of the prokaryote. They are present freely in cytoplasm. They are organic reserve materials, not surrounded by any membrane. Glycogen, Synoviation granule, phosphate granules, which are inclusion bodies. In first option, they lie free in cytoplasm, that is right. These represent the reserve materials in cytoplasm, right. These are not bounded by any membrane, it is also right. These are involved in ingestion of food particle. It is not having any membrane to invaginate to ingest the food particle. It is without any membrane, it is organic reserve materials. So, fourth option it is wrong. So, 44 it is, right option it is the fourth. Question number 45, ray florets have, ray florets, the reduced size of the flowers, what do you call the ray florets? And these ray florets which are present in sunflower and Tridacea of Asteraceae family, which are female florets having bicarpellary syncarpous unilocular ovary with a single ovule on basal placentation. And the florets which are zygomorphic and ligulate or tongue shaped structure, and in the sunflower and Tridacea, the fruit it is Cypsela fruit. It is dispersed by wind with the help of the persistent hairy calyx, what do you call it is the pappus. So, in this it is inferior ovary, the flower it is epigynous condition. Thalamus grows over the ovary and remaining part sepal, petal, stamen develop from tip of the thalamus, ovary it is inferior. So, sepal, petal, stamen it is superior. So, right option it is third option. Ray florets inferior. Question number 46, match the organism with its use in biotechnology. Bacillus thuringiensis. The Bacillus thuringiensis in a particular phase of the growth, it produces toxic protein which act on particular insect group, that is caterpillar larvas. So, it is having insecticidal property and it produces the toxic proteins, what do you call it is the Cry proteins. It is encoded by Cry1AB, Cry2AB, Cry1AC. That is, choice of the gene depends upon the crop and target pest. Cry1AB corn borer, 2AB 1AC cotton bollworm. Second, B, Thermus aquaticus, that is a thermophilic organism. Enzyme extracted from thermophilic organism, that is Thermus aquaticus, which can withstand high temperature, that is induced denaturation of the DNA during polymerase chain reaction. So, take polymerase, the enzyme that is extracted from the Thermus aquaticus that act as DNA polymerase. C, Agrobacterium tumefaciens. The Agrobacterium tumefaciens, it is pathogen for several dicot plants. The Ti plasmid, it got modified, the tDNA it got deleted and foreign DNA inserted to deliver the gene of interest into plants. So, Agrobacterium used as a vector, the tool it was used Ti plasmid, which DNA it got deleted, tDNA, that is responsible for inducing tumor. So, use it to deliver the gene of interest into plant cells, that is the cloning vector. And Salmonella typhimurium, first construction of recombinant vector by using Salmonella typhimurium. The gene encoding for antibiotic resistance was cut out from the plasmid of Salmonella typhimurium by using restriction endonucleases, results in sticky ends, which are inserted in native plasmid of the Salmonella by using DNA ligases. In order to express the antibiotic resistant gene, this recombinant DNA, recombinant vector, it was introduced into E. coli, that E. coli act as expressing system. So, what do you call cloning of antibiotic resistant genes in E. coli? So, in the Salmonella typhimurium, it act as for construction of the first recombinant DNA, otherwise what do you call it is chimeric DNA. So, right option it is the fourth option. Question number 47. Which of the following is not inhibitory substance governing seed dormancy? In first option, phenolic acid, it is a inhibitory substance that imposes dormancy. Para-ascorbic acid also inhibitory substance. Gibberellic acid is not an inhibitory substance, it is a growth promoter, it breaks the dormancy. Fourth, abscisic acid, it imposes the dormancy, so it is acting as inhibitory substance. So, right option it is third option, gibberellic acid. Question number 48, match the following with respect to the meiosis. A zygotine, that is synopsis, the pairing of the chromosome, what do you call it, the homologous pair, the bivalent tetrads are formed in zygotine, the tetrads are so clear in case of pachytene. B, pachytene, the long lasting stage, important stage, exchange occur between non-sister chromatids of homologous chromosome, what do you call it is crossing over, and the catalyst recombinase activity at pachytene stage. The tetrad is so clearly visible in pachytene stage. See, diplotin, in this desynapsis occur because of disintegration of synaptonemal complex, repulsion starts, in this chiasmata become visible, it is X-shaped structure in diplotin. D, diakinesis, the movement of chiasma to the tips of the chromosome, what do you call it is terminalization. In diakinesis, the bivalent migrate to the periphery of nuclear membrane breaks, and this diakinesis is a transition to metaphase 1. So, right option it is the fourth option. Question number 49. In gel electrophoresis, the separated DNA can be visualized with the help of. As the DNA fragments present in gel, agar gel, it is not visible in visible light. It should be stained with a fluorescent dye, that is ethidium bromide, and exposed to ultraviolet radiation. Bright orange colored bands can be seen in agar gel, and later the gel it was cut into the pieces. From the pieces of the agar gel, the DNA extraction, what do you call it is elution. So, right option it is ethidium bromide in ultraviolet radiation. Fourth option it is right option. Thank you very much to all students. All the best for NEET aspirants.